One of my favorite singers, Prince, once said he didn't have a dog in the presidential race. And I remember reading Michael Jackson didn't vote, which recalled to me seeing him with Ronald Reagan. I remember thinking about Prince. Wow, that is really odd. How could he not vote? Now I feel very much like that. I don't have a dog in this race. Having talked about why Hillary was a bad vote, it's time to talk about Donald Trump. Now Trump is interesting in that he flat out admits what his plan is. He talks about making America great again. A lot of people who support him love the fact that they believe he is saying make America white again. Afraid that their privilege and feeling of superiority is somehow slipping. For the Christians like myself and the genuinely good-hearted people that may vote for Trump, yes, we know the country's morality is escaping out the door under the so-called progressives. We know that personal rights and freedoms will continue to diminish. But we cannot endorse Satan, because we don't like Lucifer. That is why I say we are in between a rock and a hard place. One that has me wondering more about why the third-party candidate is never an option. The two-party system is a mess. In a perfect world we would be out picketing both candidates. If Trump is God's candidate, why is he running on underlying racism, hate and bigotry? America under Democrat rule has spun out of control in my opinion, but some of this started with George W. Bush. There was a recent article that stated that Republicans have achieved everything they wanted under Obama. I did not read the article, just the title, because I know that is true. So then which party do I blame for America's demise? How about both? The fact that Wednesday even considered voting for a person that got on TV and called a woman ugly to me is mind-blowing. The fact that Wednesday consider voting for a person who mocked someone with a disability is mind-blowing. You would rather build a wall than forge a friendship. I play video games with a Muslim guy, does not seem any more alien than me. Okay, maybe a little all hate speech and rhetoric is putting people in danger. If you are not talking about all of them and you love borders so much, make sure your followers know that many of these people live in peace and the radical persons are a scarce minority. Draw a border there. I know what you are thinking. Trump is just a lot of talk. But can we take the chance? What if Trump does worse than he is saying, or does what he is saying? What if all those FEMA camps and prisons the conspiracy theorist likes to remind us exist are put to use under Donald Trump? What can you show me to prove Trump is capable of leading a country? The Bible says to know people by the fruit they bear. Then how can you call this snarky, dismissive evil man God's candidate? One thing I do like better about the conservative side is there are less celebrities who pleasantly bath in immorality telling me to vote for their candidate. Why I would trust these people, whose lives are usually all indecent sex, drugs and booze. That is not to say that there are not great celebs out there. I did mention Prince and Michael Jackson, but I do not really trust parties who are endorsed by rappers who talk about selling drugs and killing people. But maybe that is just my hang-up. Who would Jesus vote for in this race? Harold or Cecile? How about neither? Would Jesus vote for the less of two evils? Especially when the Bible asks how can Satan be divided against Satan? Oh, we can't do that though, right? Not vote. Whoever we select, it's a downward spiral. We simply don't expect enough out of our candidates. I recall my grandmother saying she wouldn't vote for Clinton. This is when everyone was enamored with him. I loved Clinton before I understood his policies. I was young enough not to vote for him. That didn't stop me from watching every impeachment hearing and cheering him on. I voted for Gore and Obama later, sadly. Kerry and Bush was another time I refused to vote. This will be like that time. My grandmother knew morality mattered. Clinton helped spawn a generation of people who thought oral sex wasn't sex. Trump's morality spawn. Do we stay the course or plot a new one? I think both routes are equally dangerous. I assure you though of one thing, I genuinely love all people, no matter what you believe, and if you vote with an earnest heart then that's your choice. I'm just saying I do not see a choice here. I would like to signal evil isn't a choice. However, inaction obviously is a choice. Because that is all most major American politicians practice. They tell us to do our jobs as citizens and vote, but fail us at every turn when it comes to doing theirs. The media helped turn people against Occupy Wall Street. Bucking against the elites and their hand-chosen are the best way to make America great again. The doctor will never know you're sick if there is not something to signal illness. So keep on voting if you must. But I'm here to say something is wrong, something is broken.